Hi peeps. Aviation, photography, general life in general. Sorry, I crack myself up sometimes. I must sound like a hyena sometimes, but I just can't help myself but try to smile and laugh as much as I can, because if I don't, I go back to dwelling on the other stuff, and I don't want to go there. So, my I asked my oldest son, I sent him one of my videos, excuse me. I sent him one of my videos. I said, give me some constructive feedback. I want you to be honest, you know. And he got through it. It was like it's like 9 or 10 minutes, something like that. And he gets back to me. He says, Dad, you know, it's a pretty good message you're coming across with there, but can you cut down the length a little bit?
Protect your residents. If you are using any of their dryers,
Oh, here we go. Somebody put their clothes in the dryer and walked away and forgot all about it. That's why the fire alarm goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody used the oven and forgot about it. Anyway, so yeah, cut down the time. All right, cut down the length of the message. So we're still close to Thanksgiving, and you know, I'm so lucky to be 71 years old, because like I've had just an amazing chain of events or series of events, or you know, an index of event. Some of the things that have happened to me have been wondrously amazing. Not all good, but sometimes the good things. I like Nick Foles. He's one of my favorite persons ever. The way he answered those questions after winning the Super Bowl in 2017. He was that answer he gave was just incredible. He said, you know, they said, give us, the question the reporter said was, give us your thoughts on winning the Super Bowl against so many odds when it didn't look like it was going to happen and all this. And he didn't break his expression. If you watch that press conference, he listened to the question carefully and then gave a really good answer about failure. He says, you know, failure is something that leads up to a moment like this for me. And then he goes on to say, he said, I've experienced a lot of failure and have learned to embrace failure. There's some failures in my life I cannot embrace. It's just impossible. A couple that I've talked about in previous videos regarding, quote unquote, a marriage and then another association, an acquaintance, and I cannot embrace those failures except for what you learn. But you know, when you get to be 71, you're tired of learning. You want to start believing that I've learned most that there is the person that can learn in one life. Well, that's not true for me. I guess that my learning curve is, I'm not sure where I am on the chart. I think there's a chart for learning curve for everybody else, and then there's a chart just for me. And on the S curve, maybe I didn't turn where I should have on the S curve, and instead it boomeranged back the other way on the chart. I don't know. But let me just, 3 things that I'm just wonderfully thankful for. Number one, when my youngest son was, well, first of all, my daughter was born with a true knot in her umbilical cord. And when she came out of the womb and the nurse saw the birthing assistant who was in the halfway house where we were going to go to for a natural birth, we ended up in the hospital. And right up until like maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes before delivery, all of a sudden the heart rate on my daughter's heart spiked way up. And the delivery doctor was somewhere off watching television. They had to go get him. Ooh, don't get me started. And he comes back in and he says, oh, we got to get that baby out. The heart rate is fluctuating way too much. But it was too far along to do a cesarean, so it had to be birth canal or nothing. And I think, well, she came out the way she was supposed to, I think, you know. I'm not sure if she was upside down, but as she came out, you know, the nurse is looking at the umbilical cord, and there's a true knot in the umbilical cord. I don't know if I can give you an example. Just a true knot, like if you were tying a knot. Let's see, this is available. Yes. Here's a cord. Let's say this is the umbilical cord, okay? a true knot is this. It's turned around and it's pulled through and it turns into a true knot. So as the fetus ages and it gets and grows and develops, this knot contracts. And then when, Joan was in the last hour of labor, and suddenly this true knot went I'm not going to pull it any tighter because this is an electrical cord. I don't want to damn it, very old one too. But you can see what happens, okay? And as the baby, as she came through the birth canal, this started getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And she came out, and I wasn't looking at the true knot, but what do you call those people, darn it, in a birthing center? The person, no. Shoot, there's a name. Anyway, we started in a birthing center, not the hospital, and then we had to go to the hospital because marcanium staining. So when the mother's water breaks, if it's stained with poop from the fetus, there's a problem. In other words, your body's always trying to get rid of something that might be making it sick, in the womb and out of the womb. An amazing thing that your body does. So marconium staining, which is poop from the fetus, means there's something wrong. Got her into the hospital and they couldn't figure it out, but then her heart rate started bouncing up and down, and this was the reason. And she came out. The birth person, darn it, I forget what the name of that title was. She was watching the umbilical cord. I wasn't. I was looking at Amanda's face, and I was like, wow, this is a brand new person. I'm meeting her for the first time. Wow. I'm looking at Amanda's face. And then the birthing person pulled my attention back to the umbilical cord. She said, Jerry, there's a true knot in her umbilical cord. She said, over 90% of babies with a true knot in the umbilical cord are stillborn. And she said, this is unusual that she made it. And I was just like, holy moly, man, how in the world? In other words, she was swimming around inside the uterus or inside, the placenta, and somehow she had to put her head through the knot. I mean, like when you're tying this is her head. Somehow her head got twisted around like this, and she tied a true knot. That's one thing I'm thankful for, that my daughter, as a miracle baby, made it. My youngest son, Martin, when he was 5 years old, now at this point, there's the divorce, and I'm doing things with my kids, just with me. I don't like this story. I don't even like telling it, but I took them to an amusement park up in Bloomington, Knoebel Park. Great place. I never want to go back there because of what happened. I saw people walking around with their kids tethered with like a plastic slinky from their wrist to their kids' wrist. There were so many people, and I looked at that. I said, "That's stupid. Why do something like that?" Well, I saw a ride that my daughter and my oldest son wanted to get on, but my youngest son couldn't go, or just my daughter wanted to go on. I brought her to the ride. I put her on. I turned around, and my youngest son was gone. And it was at nighttime, and there was like hundreds and hundreds of people, and I suddenly realized I can't go running around looking for him because I have to leave my other two kids here. He was 5. So my daughter was 10, and my other son was 8. I couldn't leave them by themselves and then go out all over the place looking for Martin. Oh, the sense of panic was unbelievable. Anyway, long story short, I called, no, I didn't have a cell phone then. This is 1995. He's like 5. And so I saw a security guard going by. I said, I've lost my son. He goes, okay, I'll mobilize everybody and I'll go looking for him. Don't worry about it. We'll go do everything we can to look for him. They didn't find him. But Martin, as soon as he lost sight of me at 5, he started looking around, away from me. And he drifted off into a dark part of the park over by the roller coaster. It was dark there, and he just started crying and yelling. I didn't know. I had no idea where he was. And after about a half an hour or so, over the loudspeaker system, it says, "Would the father of Martin Byrne please come to the main office?" And I go to the main office, and there he is. A grandmother and her 2 grandsons heard him crying off in the dark area underneath the roller coaster. Went and got him and brought him back. big two thankfuls right there, man. Two big ones. I'm thankful for all three of my children. And the other thing I wanted to mention, oh God, I'm sorry this is taking so long, but these are like divine interventions in my life. This is from God. That's what I believe anyway, because, you know, Martin, he could have been gone forever. I don't think I could have lived with that. So another one is 1994. After my divorce, 1 year, my divorce happened in 93. So in early 94, I had this wonderful, met this wonderful person, Laura Slapshelton. And so we were together for a little while. I was driving, she lived in Lafayette Hill, I lived in Exton, so I was driving back and forth a number of times. And this one time, it was in April of 94, late April, early May. A spring day, a nice spring day. It can get cold around here before the end of May, but this was a really nice day. I happened to have my running shoes and my short pants on. Driving home, I'm passing a playground where there's some nice basketball courts. You know, there's nets and there's some full court stuff. And there was like a little group of boys playing basketball, half court basketball. I had my ball with me, so I needed some exercise, stretch out. I thought I'd just pull in, shoot a few hoops, stretch out, and then be on my way. So I pull in, I see these 5 boys. When I say boy, like 15 years old, so they're like man boys, boy man. They're right there on the threshold of full manhood. They were all a little bit shorter than me, not much. And it looked to me like they were 15, no more than 15 years old, 5 of them. And they're playing 3 against 2. So I go over to them, and I say, hey, I'll join you, we'll play 3 against 3. And I say, oh, okay, fine. While we're playing, about 10 minutes after we were playing, this guy comes up to us. He's in his 20s. And he's in pretty good shape. He challenges us. He says, you guys want to play full court? That's a nice full court basketball court that they had there. And I said, well, I just met these guys. We don't really know each other, and I'm not sure what they want to do. And he says, is that a yes or no? You want to go full court or not? And I said, just give me just a minute to talk to these guys, okay? I'd like to do it, but I'm not sure about them. So he says, okay. So I go talk to these guys, and none of them are crazy about the idea because it was just kind of like a little bit intimidating, you know, because they're going up against guys that are, you know, 7, 8, 9 years older than they are, and full court basketball. I don't even know if these guys ever played full court basketball. I said, listen, we got nothing to lose. I told them, so we got nothing to lose. You know, I just met you guys just met me. We'll talk it over and discuss what our strategy is. And I said, the worst we can do is lose 11-0, and so what? We'll get a lot of good exercise out of it. Maybe we'll learn something. They finally nod their heads. They weren't ecstatic or overjoyed about the idea, but they nodded their heads, and they said, yeah, okay. So I went back and I told the guys, I said, just give me the other team. I said, give me another 1 minute or so, and we'll be ready to go. And then he said, okay. I go back and I talk to these guys. I say, look, what do we have going for us? Let's run until we run out of breath, and if you're out of breath, take yourself out of the game and let somebody else come in that's rested. You got to be moving all the time. This is a game of movement, not of standing around and watching other guys play. You should be on your toes. And I told him, I said, let me see you get on your toes, bounce up and down on your toes, run in place, and stay on your toes. You got to stay on your toes the whole time here. I don't care if you miss a shot. I don't care. As long as you're running, don't be standing around. Try to get yourself open for a pass. Try to look for somebody that's open for a pass. Go for the rebound. When we get that rebound, I want to see all of you guys fly in the other direction, okay? Let's get up and down the court. Don't leave any energy on the court. Let's run until the game's over. Keep on moving. They said, okay. Long story short, we beat these guys. And the boys that I played with, man, they were so full of joy and euphoria about winning against these guys. We got to 11. I think we beat them like 11-7 or something like that, 11-8. And we got a lot of, we beat them up and down the court. We ran them. We outran them. Me, 42 years old, and these 15-year-old boys, we beat these other guys. They were all like studs. They looked like studs, but they couldn't keep up with us. While we were playing, another group of guys comes and says they want winners. So a second group came, and we beat them. Me and the 15-year-old boys beat them. Kind of like the Mighty Ducks, only on a basketball court. Then the team that we beat the first time around, they wanted a rematch, and we beat them a second time, and they were so pissed. Man, some of the guys started roughhousing me a little bit, but that was okay because we won. 3 incredible memories for me right there. I hope that was 3 memories. I think it was, yeah. My son and my daughter, and then my other son, Wesley. I have some good stories about him, but I'd have to ask him for permission to tell him before I do. I'm thankful for all 3 of my kids and the joyful moments that they've given me. And the joyful moments, that moment on the basketball court with those young men, it's with me forever. And I feel like, you know, it was, even though I did the initiative, God said, yeah, and here you go, Jerry. Here's a unique experience for you that you'll never forget. And those boys, I know, because they'll never forget it. Because whenever I came back there and they happened to be there, they ran over to me to say, hi, oh, come on, you're going to run with us? And after that, I was saying, I was out of shape, but like I lost all this weight from the divorce. I think I mentioned that in another video. So when you lose the weight, you think it's a bad thing, but man, I tell you what, you get out to run, move around, you are so much faster. I was so much quicker than I thought I could be because I lost all this weight. I was like at around 162 or 163 pounds. For me, that was a big weight loss, and since I've been running my whole life, now that I have that less of that weight to carry around, I had a good day. I had a really good day. Peace, y'all, and I hope you guys can find that. That was like a magically miraculous blessing that was given to me that day, and it was there for me to take or not. You know, you can miss out on blessings by not taking them, and that's an important thing to remember. Peace, you guys.